Hi friends, this is Pankaj and in today's video we are going to discuss about Western versus Indian secularism. Now this series that is secularism, it has three videos and this one is the second out of the three videos. The first video is dedicated to historical and the philosophical background of secularism and some other key terms that have been discussed in that. So those of you who are watching this video but haven't watched the earlier video, it's my humble request that you should go and watch that video. Okay, and the link is provided below this video. So now let us begin with the Western versus Indian secularism. So see, the Western model of secularism, its key identity or identification or the key difference between Indian version is that in Western model there is strict separation, right? In the Western model there is strict separation between state and religion. So neither religion is supposed to interfere in the state, nor the state is supposed to interfere in the functioning of the religion. But in Indian model, there is no such separation. So the state or the government in India is allowed to interfere or to support a religion. But the key term here is principled, right? Principled distance. That means if a government or a state decides to support one of the religions or one or more than one religion, then it hasn't or it should not discriminate. Okay, the key word is it should not discriminate. Okay, it should not discriminate with other religions. This is the key idea. Principal distance means same type of distance from all of the religions. Then the concept of equidistance, that means it has to maintain, the government or the state has to maintain equal distance from all of the religions, right? Now let us move to the second point. In Western model, there is non-interference by state in religious matters. So from the first point, you can actually infer that the state will not be allowed to interfere in the religious matters. But in India, the state can interfere, right? Because every religion, for example, Hinduism, there is practices which are not allowed or should not be allowed, those practices which has become asynchronous with the modern times. Okay, for example, earlier there used to be sati system and these practices which are or which have to be reformed. So therefore our constitution allows a scope for reform. Similarly, in Christianity or Islam, in Islam there is triple talaq issue. In Hinduism there are certain shrines or temples which do not allow women to enter, especially at those places where the principal deity is installed. So these practices must be abandoned, and for that the Constitution of India allows the possibility of intervention. Similarly, you would have seen that the issue of triple talaq, okay, that was in news few years back, and a bill to revoke this thing has been acted by the parliament. So similarly, now let us move to the third point. State cannot promote any religion, right? As you see, in India this is not the case. In Western model of secularism, the state is not allowed or not supposed to help any of the religions. Okay, but in India, you know that government of India organizes Hajj subsidy for Muslims, right? But for Hindus also, it organizes Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. Okay, Mansarovar. Kailash Mansarovar Yatra for Hindus. And if you are following current affairs news, then you must be aware that for Parsis, there is one scheme known as Geo Parsi scheme. Now, this scheme, Geo Parsi scheme, is to support the increase, okay, to help the growth of population of Parsis because their population is growing, it is dwindling very fast, right? So, this is the concept as against the Western model, which does not allow the state to promote or support a religion. In Indian model, the state can actually help the cause of You must also be aware that there is Article 29 and 30. Now these articles they deal with linguistic and religious minorities. So the state can actually support these linguistic or religious minorities too. But in other countries, like those countries which are following Western models of secularism very strictly, those countries do not have this kind of articles. Okay, so this is actually Article 29 or 30 is kind of provides what is known as differentiated citizenship. Now, in video 1, the first part of the lecture series of secularism, we have already discussed about what differentiated citizenship means and how this concept of differentiated citizenship is different from universal citizenship. So please go to that video and watch in detail, you will understand it. Now let us move to the next point. State cannot get involved in religious matter. Now we know that in India that is not the case. In India, the Constitution, the Supreme Court, or you would have heard number of verdicts where Supreme Court gives progressive decisions. So there are social customs or superstitions or malpractices which must be discarded because they are asynchronous with our modern times. So, because of that, in India, the state can get involved in the religious matters. And also, you might see that in there are certain ceremonies, like inauguration ceremonies, where you must be seeing that they are breaking the coconut, or there is Lakshmi Puja or Saraswati Puja, right? So, it's not like in India there is not that much of a strict separation. So there are certain Hindu or Buddhist practices which have kind of become the state religion. So state is not strictly religiously neutral. So scholars say that in India actually the Buddhism has become the state religion. If you see the state emblem, right, the chakra, oh, so it is taken from Buddhist pillars, Ashoka pillar inscription, or Sarnath. You know that Sarnath, lion capital. If you remember, Sarnath, lion capital, it is taken from this one. So in India, secularism is not that strictly neutral. In India, the state actually participates in the religious matters and it uses symbols also. It uses religious symbols for even garnering votes, right? So that is the actually you can say that that is one of the unique features also. And in certain cases, because of this use of religion or states participation in religion, there are certain problematic aspects which we are going to take up in the third lecture of this series on secularism. Now let us see the fourth point. The idea of Western model of secularism, it is based on universal citizenship. So this thing we have already talked. Universal citizenship, in very crude sense, you can understand that the it is a kind of citizenship which provides uniform rights to each and everybody. Okay, similar kind of rights. Similar rights. There are no special rights. Okay, no special rights. So in universal citizenship, there are no special rights. So that means Article 29 or 30 would not be allowed in such a country. But in India, we have Article 29 and 30, which provides for religious and linguistic minorities. Now, this principle of giving special rights to certain group of sections, which especially needs protection. So for them, if you are providing group rights, then that is known as differentiated citizenship. For example, India, the minorities, they enjoy certain special privileges. So such a concept will be known as differentiated citizenship. तो इंडिया में क्या है? India has both. It has universal citizenship as well as differentiated citizenship. There are certain rights which are available to every individual, but there are certain other rights which are available only to very specific groups. So those are known as differentiated rights. Okay. So that in that way, India's model of secularism is a hybrid model. We have kind of cherry picked the best features, but in doing so, there are certain problems also, which we are going to say in the later lectures, right? Now let's see the last point of this. So what are the philosophical influences, or what are the historical influences on Western model of secularism? So in Western model of secularism, the tradition goes to Machiavelli. Machiavelli, that is, he is a Renaissance and Enlightenment thinker, and secularism in the West was born as a byproduct of Enlightenment movement. So Machiavelli, Hobbes, and Locke, they are the key thinkers of Western model of secularism, right? So let us see the Indian model of secularism. Indian model of secularism. So the key thinkers are Nehru, Gandhi, Ambedkar, and Tagore. And you must remember that Indian model of secularism, it developed during the freedom struggle. Okay, so you know that there was this phenomena of partition where Muslim League and Indian National Congress, they were kind of contesting, and Indian National Congress was against the partition, and Muslim League was fiercely fighting in favor of the Pakistan as a nation. So under this situation or background evolved Indian model of secularism. So Nehru, he talked about religious neutrality. Nehru's vision was a country where there is religious neutrality. Like the state should not interfere at all in the matters of religion. But Gandhi and others, they were not of that thinking. Gandhi said that secularism, it means like religious tolerance or communal harmony. So for Gandhi, what it means religious toleration. Okay, or communal harmony. So Gandhi's vision was kind of different. Communal harmony. Okay. And then Ambedkar, he was kind of talking about fraternity, fraternity, and then one man, one vote, right? So kind of equality and what you call in Hindi bhaichara. So this is the key concern of Ambedkar. Now Tagore was more of a cosmopolitan thinker, right? Tagore was a cosmopolitan, means somebody who considers the whole world as a family. A cosmopolitan thinker will consider the whole world as a family. So such thinkers, they are going to talk about integration, communication, and borrowing from other cultures. Okay, like Gandhi said that you should keep your doors closed, but you should keep your windows open, so that what is best or what is good from other cultures, you should be able to borrow those. So friends, with this we finish this video, and stay tuned for watching the next video. In that we are going to take up issues actually, like uniform civil code, triple talaq, and what are the issues which Indian secularism faces, and why there is there are certain terms like you might be reading those terms in newspapers like pseudo secularism. Okay, or there are number of contested authors, scholars who have presented views against Indian model of secularism, like Ashish Nande. Okay, then there is Arun Shourie, Lal Krishna Advani. These kind of thinkers or politicians, they have certain views which goes against the Indian model of secularism. So in the next video we are going to take up those issues, and that will be very very relevant, actually very important for your mains preparation. So stay tuned, watch the video, and if you have any comments, suggestions, do write in the comment box. Have a nice day. Happy learning.